Hi, hello.
Hello? Yes. Hi.
Is this Abraham?
Speaking.
Hey, Abraham. This is Tommy Bryson. The call may be recorded and potentially uploaded. How can I help?
Yes, what's going on, my brother?
I'm doing good, man.
All right. Yeah, I've been watching your videos and I wanted to know more about index funds. Like how can I invest in index funds and what's the best way to do it?
Okay. Why do you want to invest?
I mean, money in the bank, is not making money,
How much
you
cash do you
know.
have?
Right now I want to start with 1,000 and see what happens.
Okay. What do you want to happen?
So I mean, but for it to grow.
All right. So here's the one thing you have to understand, right? There's something called I think it's called the 72 rule, right? And the idea is that usually on average, it takes money about like using this method around like 10 years usually to double. So for example, if you're getting paid the whole idea is that basically you divide 72 by the rate of return. So you have 72, if you're gonna get 10%, you'll double your money in like 7.2 years. If you have 72 and you grow your money at 12%, you'll double your money an average every 6 years, right? That's the idea. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when you put $1,000 into that, it'll take like 6 years to double. The goal is not, for example, just to put in a lump sum of money, see what happens, but it's more to really understand what investing is and then make it, for example, like a routine, a habit, right? So you start to invest every time you get paid. That way that money grows. And then when those 6 years come, you have a bunch of money in there. But I don't want you to have like $1,000 today and then $2,000 in 6 years, because by that point, you also had inflation and a whole bunch of other factors that basically steal away your returns. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question, right? What do you do for work?
Well, I'm an entrepreneur. I buy properties overseas. I have properties overseas, like in BR. I have building complex. I used to be a tour manager for this artist,
Mm-hmm.
and I stopped doing this music thing. So now I'm more like into real estate, but I do it overseas though.
Okay. How much money do you make per month?
It varies. It varies.
On the low end?
Uh, it could be 25K, sometimes
What
15K.
per month?
Yeah,
Your net income is $15,000 per month?
per month. Yeah.
Okay. So if you make that's interesting, because in DR usually like it's a little bit more complex to do that type of deal, because it's like you get paid in pesos, the rate of return is a lot lower over there, loans are a lot more expensive. However, though, if you do make $15,000 per month, do you have any debt?
Of course. I have my mortgages. I have
Oh,
two
wait.
houses, one in Florida, one in New York.
Okay. All right. So first, I should be transparent and tell you exactly what I do and what I believe in. Right. The first thing is what I do is basically teach people about financial freedom. And the best way to do that is basically you get them out of debt first. So the first step in my 4-step plan is usually you get out of debt, everything except the mortgage, right? So if you have credit card debt, personal loan debt, student loan, not yeah, student loan debt, like car loans, all those things, you get rid of that first. Because if you're paying somebody 18, 20% interest, then and you invest the way I invest, which is like for the long term, it just cancels out everything you want to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the second step is you start saving up for emergencies. So you have 3 to 6 months in your emergency account. And then the third step is you start paying off your mortgage for your personal home. And usually you don't buy any rental properties until you basically pay off a mortgage, because that way you have ultimate security. While you're trying to pay off the mortgage early, you're also investing between 10 to 20% of your income. That way, basically, you're just not, for example, just wasting time, waiting like 8, 10 years to finish with your property, but you're also investing. So by the time you're done in like paying off the mortgage, you also have a large amount of money invested. The main thing is if you have a $15,000 income, I'm gonna take a wild guess here and guess that a lot of your debt is leveraged. I mean, a lot of your income is leveraged your debt, right?
Yes.
So that's the big issue. So you kind of have to make a decision and kind of say, like, what exactly do I want and what exactly do I want to do? Because a lot of times you have a high income, but then a lot of the income needs to be used to make you more money to sustain the business. And then that's not really having a high income. Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean?
Of course, of course.
Yeah. So then if I were you, You're an entrepreneur, so most likely, do you have an S corp or do you have an LLC, C corp? What do you have?
S corp,
Okay, so
and I
you
also
pay.
have a non-profit too.
Okay, so how much do you pay yourself?
Um, it depends how much I pull in. Like when I get some certain grants, it depends. Sometimes I could pay myself like $5,000. So it depends how much I make.
So when you have an S corp, you're supposed to put yourself on salary, and the salary is based on your income according to the IRS, right? So I recommend you have like a fixed salary you pay yourself, and then every single year you adjust it according to what you're projecting, right? So if you make $4,000 and then you do distributions, for example, every 3 months or 4 months, that's fine, right? Because then you can say like, well, I pay myself $4,000 after taxes. That's more like $3,500 or $3,000, and then I pay myself a big chunk of money every 3 months in distributions, and that's like another like an average of like $7,000 like per month or whatever, right? So it's around an average like of $10,000 because I'm also saving money up for taxes and everything else, right? So me personally, what I would do is first I would eliminate all of the debt that I basically have, except the mortgages, right? And if I'm being honest, right, how many properties do you own
Wait, here or in DR?
here?
Two.
Okay, so you own 2 properties here, and in DR.
4 and two coal models, like a mini supermarket.
Okay, and how much debt do you have?
Just the mortgages. I mean,
Okay,
that's
how much?
it.
How much is that?
Um, let me see. One is about 6,500.
What? No, like in total.
Yeah.
Like how much debt do you have in total? Like the actual amount, not like the monthly payments.
I have no credit card debts. I mean, about 17,000.
Okay. So here's a question I'm asking, right? If you have a mortgage, the home was worth $20,000, you put down 20%, you owe the bank a certain amount of money left over, right? And they charge it to you, for example, the mortgage every single month. How much do you have left on your mortgage? Like how much do you still owe the banks between these 2
Oh, you talking
properties
about
here?
with the bank? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, the property in Florida, it cost me about 300 grand, and I put 40. So I could say that right now I still owe them 200 and change. With the complex I have in New York, I bought it for it basically cost like 260 grand. But
Mhm.
what I do, I rent it out, so it's paying itself. So that one I put that one is for my wife. We put together 50 grand down.
So you owe like 210 on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's paying itself because we rent that out.
And where do you live then? Are you currently renting yourself?
No, I live in Florida.
Oh, so the
I'm
Florida
back.
property, the 260, is the one that the one you bought for $300,000. That's the one you live in.
Yes, and
Okay.
that's the one that yes.
Okay. And in DR you have 4 properties, and then you have the two like commercial units. Like how much do you owe on
Like
those?
a mini supermarket.
Yeah. How much do you owe on those?
The DR properties, no, I bought the land. Those are mine. I just built it from scratch.
Awesome. Congratulations. That is awesome. So 0 there. So that's just all cash flow. That's great.
Yes.
Congratulate. I like that a lot. And then, for example, credit card debt, personal loan debt, student loan debt, car loans. You have
Nah.
any of those?
Nah.
So the only debt you have is just these 2 mortgages.
Yeah, the 2 mortgages.
And then where do you
So-
make the $15,000 from?
From the properties in DR.
They
Because
make you
it's
that
not-
much money per month?
Oh yeah, because they are buildings, apartment buildings, and each of them have like 4 floors with 6 apartments, and I rent them out for like.
How do you get
500
started with that?
Well, I used to manage a Haitian band, and then when I stopped managing them, one of the player, he lived in DR, and he
Mhm.
was that's what he was doing. He was like buying lands and building them up and rent them out, especially
Mhm.
like around Punta Cana, because there's a lot of people from Europe
Wow.
that moved down there.
Yeah.
They want to retire in DR, for the weather, the women. And then he
Mhm.
was like, listen, since we're not doing this band thing anymore, this is what I'm doing. You should join.
Yeah.
I was like, really? And then we started one. He was like, he's doing another one. So I bought a piece of land from him, and then from there I just took off.
Wow, that is awesome.
Because people don't know, like in New York, it's like just like the number one tourism country in the Western Hemisphere. So a lot of people go out there to retire, especially armed forces. When they go down there, after a while, they don't want to be in the States anymore, so they move down there to retire.
So if you have these 4 units in these 2 grocery stores, how many? Well, those are not units. How many units do you have in total? Like, how many doors do you have? For example, like how many actual apartments do you have?
My one building has 20.
Wow.
Yeah, one building has 20, and then the other 3 has like I think 13 each.
13 each. So that's like 10, 39.
Yeah, so some of them are 1 bedroom, some of them are 2 bedrooms.
So that's
some of them are 3
59. That is insane. That is awesome. So all you've been doing this time has been real estate. So what got you to buy real estate, for example, in New York for $210,000?
My ex-wife, she was into it. She took the sales associate. Then she was like, oh, she gonna go for nursing. But I guess she fell in love with nursing more. Then she was like, you know what? From what she learned, we should do real estate. And in the state, I'm like, that's so much bills. She was like, let's just try. And then she had a realtor friend that we sat down with, and he ended up finding us that property that we have. Down here in Florida.
So what's your are you currently married or are you single?
Right now, I'm in the middle. I mean, it's like I'm still married, but I'm single.
Okay.
Which means, if there's no divorce, so basically you're still married.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So here's what I would say, right? What do you want to do here? Like, what's your goal? Do you want like financial freedom?
Yes, financial freedom.
Okay.
My goal is, I want to be able to create more passive incomes, because I believe, if you have like 5 to 7 or 8 passive income monthly, that will bring, in my opinion, financial freedom.
Okay. But how much money do you want? Because financial freedom is subjective, right? So for me personally, all I really need is around like $40,000 in passive income per year, and I'm fine. How much money are you trying to get in passive income? What's your number?
If I could make 50 to 100 a year, that's fine with me.
50 to 100 a year.
Yeah.
You're already there. The only thing that's stopping you, right, is having this property in New York and then having this mortgage. So if I were you, what would I do? I would focus on what I have currently. So that means, okay, let's follow these steps here. Step 1 is you get out of debt. Everything except the mortgage. Congratulations, you have no other debt except the mortgage. So you can skip this step. Then you go on to building a full-blown emergency account. That means all of your expenses, you have enough for 3 to 6 months, including, for example, the properties in Santo Domingo, to actually make sure that there's also money there in case something does go wrong, and you're able to provide over there in case something does go wrong. Okay, great. So now I have 3-6 months in there. That might take you, with your income, maybe 2-3 months to actually save it up in bulk. Great. What's the next step? I start investing towards my retirement. If I have an S corporation, I can open up an individual 401k, and I can start basically investing a ton of money and also saving money from my taxes. Now, I would do that with Vanguard. I'll call Vanguard and say, hey, I want to open up an individual 401k. I have an S corporation. I make X amount of money. I pay myself this much, and they'll tell you exactly how much you're actually able to contribute from the business side and how much you're actually able to contribute from your employee side. And then boom, help you out with that. The portfolio I would recommend is the one that I use, right? I have a moderately aggressive portfolio, meaning it is 80% stock ETFs and then 20% stock, maybe 20% bonds, right? Now, if you do that with Vanguard, you can have that same portfolio in index fund formats, which is fine. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So to find my portfolio, just click on any of my videos and you go down to the M1 Finance link, or just click the latest video. You go down to the M1 Finance link, you click it, and it shows you exactly what I invest into. When you call Vanguard, you say, hey, here's the ETF I want to invest into. Let me get the index fund format. They'll tell you. When it comes to the other two that they don't have, for example, like the BlackRock, just describe it to them and they'll find you the exact same ones in Vanguard. So that way you have the portfolio. Now, once you have the portfolio, I'm investing between 10 to 20% of my money in this portfolio per month. Then the next step is you gotta ask yourself, okay? I'll probably do this step right now before anything. Ask yourself, do I really wanna have this property in New York? If the answer is no, right now there's a seller's market. You sell that property, you cash in, you use that money to help pay for the current property you have in Florida, and then you focus on locking on paying that current property in Florida to finish it off as fast as possible. With your income, right, it shouldn't take you more than 4 to 5 years, maybe even less, to be done with that property in Florida. While you're also investing, by the way. So now, for example, in 3 to 5 years, you have a large amount of money invested because you're able to max out your 401k and also your Roth IRA. So that means you're investing every single year around $19,500, plus your company can contribute even more money. So that means even more money, up to like around $57K per year. And then your Roth is $6K. You can invest a ton of money basically. So in 4 to 5 years, you can have easily in there like around $100,000 or $150,000. That can pay you passive income. But the goal is that right then and there, you have real estate paying you. Great. You have an emergency account. Great. You have no debt whatsoever. So now you eliminate all the risks of having so many mortgages. And then the last part is you also have a good amount of money in your investment account. So then what's the next step here? The next step is you don't stop investing. So you keep investing that 10, 20% into your retirement accounts to maximize everything. And then you just start to like enjoy your life a lot more, because you're already making $10,000 per month or like 15K per month from those properties in DR. If you want to buy more properties, you can if you want to. But the way I buy properties, I would buy properties basically, I would buy one, then slowly pay that one off. Once it's paid off, I'll buy the next one. But because you have so much income, it just becomes a lot more easier. Because if you're making 15K plus whatever other income you actually make, plus whatever the property actually pays itself, you're able to pay that one property down, then the next one down, then the next one down. But that's really the rat race, because at this point, you might do that to diversify, but you already have a solid income. And you already have, for example, 59 doors. The odds that all those people are gonna stop paying you is very low. Does that make sense?
Yes, very low. Yeah.
Yeah. So the game I would play is basically probably sell the complex in New York, and then focus on paying, and then save the emergency account, obviously, start investing, set up their retirement accounts. And the goal is not to invest $1,000. The goal is to basically try to maximize your investment accounts to save you money also in taxes. And you keep doing that consistently every single month. That's the goal. And then you pay off this current property. That way in 3 to 5 years, Abraham, you're fully done. And you still have a very high income, but more importantly, you don't have any debt. If you want to buy a fancy car, if you want to go on fancy vacations, you can if you want to. How old are you, by the way?
39.
Yeah, man, it sounds like you already won the game, but you're trying to like trap yourself in different ways. You're there. The only thing that's holding you back is this property in New York, where there's a seller's market, so you can potentially sell it. You try to pay off your Florida thing. So imagine your life. How does your life feel like when you have no debt whatsoever? Now you're like 43 years old and you still have a pretty high income. What does your life look like then? What are you doing?
That's true. You're stuck.
You know what I mean? There's no need to like complicate it. You could add more properties if you want to, but just take it step by step, because I don't want you to risk what you already worked so hard to accomplish. But that's about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you said the best way to do that is to go to Vanguard and
individual 401k.
Okay.
Vanguard. You can use Vanguard individual 401k, and then if you qualify for a Roth IRA, you can use M1 Finance. If you make more than $149,000 a year, you won't be able to qualify for it. So potentially, you probably won't be able to. So if you can open up the individual 401k with Vanguard, you can open up a Roth 401k, And also a normal 401k, the business contributes, and how when people have a normal job and their employer pays them like a match when they invest money,
Yes.
you will be doing that with yourself. So when your company, which is yourself, matches whatever you invest, you put that into the 401k. When you're investing money, you put it into the Roth 401k. The difference is that basically the 401k gives you a tax benefit. So whatever you invest, it basically gets deducted from your income. So that way you pay an adjusted less taxes. However, when it's time to take out taxes in the future, because you took that benefit and it's pre-tax money, they'll tax you on the amount you're taking out when it's time to retire. The Roth 401k though is post-tax money. So you earn it, you pay taxes on it, and then you invest it. You already pay taxes on it. So when it's time to take the money out, you don't pay any taxes. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if you have, for example, you can have a high income, you can have a traditional IRA, and then every year, I don't want to confuse you too much, but every year it's called, just look this up, right? But don't do it now. Just like, it's so much things, man. I wish I had more time with you, but the core idea is that eventually you can have a back door to the Roth because you can't invest into it. And you can just roll over the money from your 401k to the traditional IRA over into the Roth IRA. And that can potentially help you out when it comes to retirement. But as far as what to do right now and actionable steps, consider selling that property, save up for emergencies, and then you start investing 10-20% with Vanguard, and then you focus on paying off the property that you currently have in Florida. Once that's paid off, you're basically set. You have income coming in from DR. If you want to build income in the US, that's fine. But you've also building that other stream of income, for example, with the stock market or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yes. Because I just wanted to try the stock market, but
Mm-hmm.
from talking to you, it's like the other way is better than just because the stock market. I didn't know it was like a 6 years to 7 year thing.
What do you think it was?
I thought it was like every 6 months or every 3 months.
You take money out?
Yeah.
You can take money out whenever you want to, right? But what I'm telling you is not to.
But it won't double. Yeah,
No.
But they won't.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not what this is what I teach is long term. It's the long term team here, right? So whatever you've managed to build, Abraham, has not been overnight. So you can't expect any of this stuff to happen overnight. If I gave you a bulletproof way to earn double your income by tomorrow, run. It's unrealistic. You know what I mean? So I could really consider doing this stuff because basically it adds up because you're 39 years old today, but 20 years from now, you will be 60. Well, what is it? Like 59 years old, right? So the time is going to pass either way. So if you can save money on taxes, have a way to have money grow for you 100% tax free, and then take it out tax free, why wouldn't you? This is not something you're doing for your current self, but something you're doing for your later self. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, because imagine, let me just run a little calculation here with you, right? Because again, the good thing is that you have a pretty high income, so you have like a lot more wiggle room than the average person. But if you start investing with, let's just say $1, well, let's say $1,000 if you want to, and you want to basically max out all of your accounts, right? So if you have an individual 401k, an individual 401k, yeah, depending on how much you pay yourself, you're able to invest maybe up to $57,000, right, per year, right? Now, the portfolio I give you is not like you're picking a company. An index fund is basically when you're buying a fund that's made up out of other stocks. So when you invest, for example, into the S&P 500, you're buying the 500 largest companies in America, right? Which basically means the only way that fails is basically if the US economy crumbles. And at that point, it doesn't matter how much money you have invested because the currency most likely is also going to crumble. So the point is that the odds that that's going to happen is pretty low. Will the market crash every now and then? The answer is yes. But if you believe, for example, that America's going to be here for a while, you can guarantee that basically, hey, this is going to be fine. But not just the US market, but you also have the US market, the small cap market, meaning like smaller companies. You also have the international market. You also have, for example, the bond market, both corporate and also like the treasury, where you lend money to the government or you lend money to businesses. Then you have also the real estate sector. Then you have also the emerging markets. So this portfolio that I give you is a portfolio that in order for it to go to the ground, the whole world has to be in flames. And if that happens, it doesn't matter what you have, because currency is going to be ridiculous, right? You have hyperinflation all over the place. Your savings are eradicated. It doesn't really matter. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's the whole point. But if you're able to invest, let's just say, for example, $30,000 per year, right? And it depends, right? Because your priority right now is just not, you can't, let's not do that. Let's say if you make $15,000, what do you make net, like after taxes and everything per month? What would you say?
After taxes, what, here or in DR?
After taxes overall. Because if you're going to invest, I would say just invest with your overall money, not just, for example, just this money that you have here.
I'd say about 12.
Okay. So let's say you have, let's cut it down to 10,000. It's better to use less income than to do speculations and stuff like that. So if you make $10,000 and I say invest 20%, that's $2,000 per month times 12. That's going to be around $24,000 that you're investing every single year, right? That's the idea. Now, if you make 12% on your money, because you also have, for example, the rate of return might be 10%, but you also have dividends being paid to you at around 2%. So let's add it up to 12%. That means, for example, if you give this money, let's say you give this money 10 years to actually grow. So now you're 39 now, you're 50 years old. 50 years old, you have around $474,000 invested. That's the math, right? So now, if you have $474,000 and you multiply that, let's say, for example, by 4% that you take out every single year, right? That means that gives you an income somewhere around $1,580 per month, like $1,580 per month. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But the goal is that you're just diversifying to make sure that if something goes wrong, that way you'll be fine. But you're not going to be too self-reliant on it, because you also have the DR income, you'll have that income, but more importantly, you have no mortgage if you follow the rules, and you have no debts. So your actual expenses are going to be pretty low. So you don't need all that money. Does that make sense? Like, you have it there because you want to be very secure, but it's not like you'll be affected if it goes down even a little bit. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That's the idea. Okay?
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right,
but I would definitely do that individual Vanguard. That's 401k.
Yeah, consider it. So these calls, you have any more questions, by the way, Abraham?
No, so far so good.
Okay.
Appreciate you and your time.
These calls are not a one-time thing, Abraham, right? So if you ever want to call back or you need help with something else and you want to consider something else, just feel free to call me back, okay? And I'll give you a call. All right? And welcome to the long-term team. Patience is key. You already know that.
Thank you, my brother. Appreciate you. God bless you and your family.
All right. You also, brother. Peace out. All right, guys. So that right there was Abraham. A $15,000 income, net somewhere around $12,000. What an amazing story, huh? I got into real estate. I started doing my thing, and now I want to get into the market. And I just want to get financial freedom. You know, sometimes you can have exactly what you want, but not know it because you're chasing something else. And you're adding new things, you're adding this, you're adding that, but you already have this, Abraham, right? What do you guys think about that, right? If you have that much income, the houses are paid off in DR, fully paid off. You have 59 doors, all of them paying you income also. And then you're here in the US, but you have a complex you rarely use or whatever, so it's your ex-wife, you sell that. Sell it. Now you have only one property in Florida to worry about, and then you pay that off. Once it's paid off, you're good to go. You don't really need anything else. If you want to keep investing, you keep investing. But at that point, you have a financial free life because you have more money coming in than you have going out. And the odds that this is going to fail for him are pretty low because he has so much stuff going on for him, man. So that to me is amazing. That to me is awesome. And shout out to Abraham and all his hard work and everything he's managed to accomplish, okay? I have to give him a clap, okay? 2 claps. Great job, okay, guys? I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. If you want to join me on my next call, feel free to do so. Calls are scheduled down below in the description. Click that link and schedule a call for tomorrow, and I'll give you a call directly. If you guys want to DM me right here on Instagram at Tommy Bryson or over here. Either one works just fine. And if you guys want to basically like this video, well, like it helps a lot. And also subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell so you're notified every time a video comes out every day at 12 p.m. Eastern. On top of that, also, if you guys want to watch more content like this, here's another video right here, and click my face right here. See you guys tomorrow, and as always, peace.